Oh, just a second.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the FPL Banger Show. My name is Siva. I'm joined by Sam. Game week 10, Sam. And as a non Haaland owner all season, Sam, you must feel very, very happy this week.
I do. This was the one fixture that scared me the most of not owning Haaland, right? At home against Southampton. Probably the best fixture on paper. And I mean, he got a goal, but still feels like a win.
I mean, you've robbed your way. What is it? 3xG should have been a hat trick. After 5 minutes, goal went in. You must have been hiding under several sofas, and then somehow
I was. After that first goal, I was like, oh, I'm in for a long night. But it worked out. Some black magic juju going on. Had to keep him from scoring no matter what.
Yeah, I should point out it's a time difference thing, right? Because for us, the games are at night. So, like people in Europe, they have the option. First goal goes in, you feel bad, take your dog for a walk or something. We're stuck at home.
Mm.
You got to watch this stuff, man. You're not going
I mean,
anywhere.
you can go to sleep, I guess.
Yeah, you could.
It's what I did for the MU game against West Ham. So
And
I can't be bothered watching this.
I mean, people say Michael Oliver is biased against you, but I think he's a secret United fan because he just thought, look, I need to stop this. I need to end Ten Hag somehow, some way. He's gonna get away with another point. Ten Hag already cancelled the Spurs game, right? That doesn't exist. So Michael
So
Oliver, no man.
not the hero we deserve, but the hero we need.
Yes,
Had to play the villain for the greater good, you know.
exactly. And now United, new coach, new manager bounce. And so, Cole Palmer, I was looking forward to a hat trick this weekend, and now
Yeah. As a Palmer captainer, he could have had a haul, but I guess you could say the same thing about Haaland. So I'm not gonna talk too much about that, right? About the what ifs. But he delivered 10 points, which is great. I'm really happy with that. And the signs look good for it to continue.
Would you tell somebody like me who didn't have Cole Palmer last week that he's a must own and you're crazy if you don't have him? Because it's now 45 goal contributions in 42 games, which is
I
insane. I mean, this.
I think must own is very this season in particular, it's very hard to say any player is a must own, you know? Because we have so many premiums, you can't own all of them. So on a vacuum, Haaland is a great asset. Salah is a great asset. Palmer is a great asset. Saka still is a great asset. So you have all these premiums. You can't own all of them. So you have to sacrifice. You have to pick and choose which combination of premiums you feel will give you the most points.
Okay, so that's a very, reasoned take, I'd say. So you're saying you wouldn't, if you don't own Palmer, it's okay. You trust the guys you have. You don't need to rush out and go get him immediately today.
I mean, I think Salah could match his points, Palmer. And he has been. Salah has been really, really good this season. You know, it's all a matter of price. Like, so yes, Salah can match his points, but what are you doing with the extra 2 mil if you went for Palmer instead? Or you might have Palmer and Salah, like me. Then I don't have Haaland. What am I doing with the extra money? You know, you could have all the money in the world, but if you bought DCL instead of Wood, you still would be like 40 points behind everyone, right?
True. But I'm with you, Sam. I think you sort of have to you accept that you can't own everyone, and go with the guys you have, and give them the chances to sort of return the points. Anyway, I took a hit for Palmer and got him on Sunday night.
Okay, very on brand, Siva.
Very on brand. I keep telling myself every week, won't make transfers while I'm triggered. Won't do it. And then Sunday night the kids call making noise. The other kids making noise. I'm watching Palmer. Okay, you're right. He didn't get the hat trick, but he should have had it. I mean, he scores after like 3 minutes, just a touch offside. Amazing goal that he scores. It's his pass that sets up the first goal. Nkunku basically dives, almost gets him a pen, and that's Palmer
Very,
on a
very
bad
close
day.
to a mega haul.
Yeah, so I feel like I got away with one this week, and I made a mistake just not getting him full stop, and I'm to be fair, if I had known Ten Hag was going to be sacked, I may have done things differently because I feel a
No.
lot of United's problems are vibes.
Okay. Fair. As a United fan, I would agree with that actually.
Yeah, because on paper it's an acceptable side, like, but anyway, what's done is done, and I do
Yeah.
feel
And last
I
night
will sleep
we
better
had a
now.
big win. We had a big win last night in the Carabao Cup. 5-2.
Defeated a former Premier League champion team, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Pedigree.
of
This
course,
is what
Leicester
heritage is.
reserves, uh,
But
football heritage.
the attack looks like it's clicking. Defense still suspect, so I'm not worried about having Palmer.
Yeah, I mean, I think if there was ever a player who you could knee jerk, I think guys like Palmer, Salah, uh, that's
Fixture proof,
that's
right?
fine. Acceptable
Yeah.
knee jerk is what. So I didn't feel too bad about it, and I got the price rise from yesterday, so I'm okay. Let's go into questions because we have a lot of questions this week, and it's still focusing on premiums, right? Because the reason why I asked you about Haaland to begin with is you must be thrilled because game week 1 they called you a madman. Now we're in game week 10, we're in the end game, and everybody is doing what you have already done. They are selling Haaland this week. We have a question here from late FPL. Sell Haaland to get more this week.
Well, I'm just gonna say you have to be really strong mentally because he's not gonna blank for the rest of the season, right? He will haul. And it's not about trying to outscore him with your players, you know. I think I've just been very lucky that he has blanked the past 4 weeks, minimal returns despite having like incredible XG, right? I think I've just been lucky. Eventually the variance will sort out. He will start scoring again. It's all about what are you doing with that extra 4 or 5 whatever mil that you have, by going Salah and Palmer instead. So, but it will be nerve-wracking. I was prepared. I was prepared for him to haul this week against Southampton. But I figured in the long run, the savings that I have it will work out in the long run. I just got lucky. I think I really just got lucky that he didn't have a mega haul.
Yeah, I'm torn by this because it's really hard for me to answer this question because I have Haaland and Salah. That was the way I structured my team from my early wildcard, and I'm still quite comfortable with it. I so I think Haaland's been very unlucky in these last few games, and in this game against Southampton. Look, you only need to watch the game to see that on another day he scores that hat trick. So I don't think it's a chance creation issue per se. Yes, no Kevin De Bruyne, but still, this is a decent team that can create chances. He's got the full rest yesterday, right? We are recording Thursday. So he didn't play Carabao Cup, which is nice. So he's rested. Bournemouth, Brighton next two. I would say these are games where do you need to own him? They're not must own, but these are the kind of games where I could see him just going off and getting a hat trick because these are the kind of teams who Bournemouth, Brighton, they lose to good teams. They beat bad teams and they lose to good teams. That's what I would say. These are the kind of teams, and then he's got Spurs right after that, and Spurs in game week 12. Haaland probably no Van de Ven went off yesterday with a hamstring, so Erling Haaland against Dragusin and Romero. Romero probably gets sent off 5 minutes in. I mean, and it's Spurs, right? I mean, yes, Spurs beat City yesterday, and maybe that's the cycle we should be talking about. Timo Werner, Sam. I mean, you got to be interested now. But yeah, I think long story
Haaland's
short is
just an expensive Timo Werner.
yeah, Haaland just an expensive Timo Werner. Also, Farmers League heritage kind of thing. One good season in the Bundesliga. I think bottom line is
Yeah.
okay, but I'll leave you finish. But I think if you want to sell Haaland for Salah, as long as the other guy you're getting is good, and I think the template move this week is to get Matis Cunha and upgrade one of your 4.5 midfielders. It's boring, it's template, but I think it's fine. I will point out one last thing though before I leave it to you. Haaland's got 5 xg in the last I think 3 or 4 weeks, and Salah's got like less than 2. Salah's doing a lot with very not fluky returns, but a pen here, an assist there. Haaland's got more sustainable numbers, is what I would say.
I would say Salah's just really involved. right? His XG might not be high, but he's also been really creative this season as well. So there are a lot of routes to points. So possibly a higher floor than Haaland. Haaland more feast or famine, right? I think because when he's
Mhm.
like yesterday, okay, you were unlucky, but in a parallel universe, Haaland has like 100 points from that one game or something like that. For those who triple captain him. Uh, but then when in games where he's not involved, it's like literal 0 xg, 0 xa, nothing. So feast or famine. That's what I feel about Haaland. And I would say this as a non-Haaland owner, right? From the start of the season, for anyone who's thinking of not getting Haaland, first of all, I will just let you know that from game week 1 to 5, in game week 1, I had a rank of 7 million. By the end of game week 5, I was 4.2 mil. Still really, really bad, you know. So you have to be prepared because I think not owning Haaland is a long-term game. If he starts to haul 2 games in a row, are you gonna then take another hit to bring him back in and destroy the structure of your team again? So if you want to go with Haaland, you have to be prepared mentally, be behind your couch, whenever City has an easy game. And you have to resist the urge to jerk him back in. So that would be my advice to anyone who's attempting to go down this path.
Yeah, your season's very interesting reflection because you started off with no Haaland and the first 5 weeks in the gutter, and then the last 5 weeks, up to now have been amazing, and you're up to about 500k, which I think as a rank most people would kill for. Um, yeah, I've had Haaland since the start. My rank is slightly better, but my rank has stagnated basically because of Haaland, and so basically I should have sold when everybody was buying. Um, Looking at how your team has been doing, it's tricky. I think it's really tricky.
It is tricky. But at the same time, it's also the other players you get. I mentioned it earlier. Fine, you don't have Haaland. I didn't have Haaland, but I would say that I didn't start off very strong. If I had Palmer from the start, I went Foden in early. If I didn't get
Yeah.
Foden that week and I went for, Saka, I think I would be a lot higher than where I am. So it really is, what are you doing with this extra money?
Yeah. So speaking of that, right, these other players, right? I think the forward debate, because that's one of the reasons why people are so keen on getting Haaland out, is because it allows them to upgrade their forward line.
Mhm.
And let's talk about the forwards, because I think the Haaland question is probably more team specific. The forwards is probably more interesting. We've had
Okay.
Chris Wood since a very long time now.
Yeah.
He's done very well.
Amazing. Excellent.
Amazing. I mean,
7
yeah,
goals this season so far, which is crazy actually. 7 goals in 9 games.
yeah, we're in Ballon d'Or territory here. By
Mhm.
next season, if Chris Wood isn't in the Ballon d'Or conversation, I think Nottingham Forest will be very upset. I look forward to like pictures of New Zealanders just uploading on Instagram, disgrace, and like
It's a disgrace.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
For those of
okay,
you who
so
weren't watching, I just did a little drop.
oh yeah,
Little drop.
yeah.
Okay,
Okay,
other forwards
let's
not named Chris Wood or Haaland.
yeah, because we have a question here from FPL Filthy Casual. Do we add Jimenez to the Wissa Cunha debate and FPL Blitzkrieg Jackson versus Harvards? And I think that's really interesting, right? The thing that's always counted against Jackson and Harvards this season, and you tell me if it still counts against them, is the fact that there are so many good budget forwards.
Mhm. I agree. I think, like we mentioned last week, the forward line looks really, really interesting right now, which is why I've moved my formation to a 3-4-3, right? Because I think there's just so much value there. So you have, Welbeck, Danny Welbeck, that guy Welbs, who is just scoring every single week. what can we say? Me and Siva have heavy bias against Welbeck as an Arsenal fan, as a United fan. So I just can't find it in my heart to recommend Welbeck. And he has, pretty terrible. Next 2 fixtures are terrible, right? Liverpool and City. But then after that, they do go on this great, nice run. Bournemouth, Southampton, Fulham, Leicester, Palace, West Ham, Brentford. So he really could be an option 2 weeks from now. But if you want something more immediate, I still think Jimenez is great. He had his first blank in like 6 weeks the week I brought him in. Naturally, But still
Very unlucky.
he Yeah, very unlucky. He ended up with 0.47 xg, 0.24 xa, gives him a 0.71 xgi, expected goal involvement. So still really good underlying stats, as has been the case the past 5-6 weeks. Happy with Jimenez. I really like Cunha as well. I did mention him in last week's pod. And it's so funny because the Wolves game turned out exactly like how we predicted it, right? We said, Ryan, we don't expect any clean sheets, only attacking returns. True enough, attacking returns. You say Cunha's more involved than Strand Larsen, maybe worth the 1 mil. True enough, he's the one who comes in with the goal, and through his involvement in the match, comes out with full bonus points as well. I would say he's worth the 1 mil over Strand Larsen because he's just the focal point of the whole attack.
He's definitely more talismanic. And the fact that, I mean, he scores basically the last kick of the game, right? Like
Yeah,
Brighton's
They were like 5 minutes away from getting blanks.
such
And then we
a
wouldn't
such a
have been talking
move.
about them right now.
Exactly, it's crazy, right? Because Brighton, I mean, if Wissa just runs to the corner flag, they're safe. But that obsession to try and get a goal, and that cost them. Yeah, I mean,
But
Cunha's done well.
Wolves have really nice fixtures though. Next 4: Palace home, Southampton home, Fulham away, Bournemouth home, Everton away, West Ham away, Ipswich home, Leicester away. Come on, doesn't get better than this. So
Good
I
fixtures.
do
Although,
really like the Cunha move. I really do like it.
yeah, but I'm more keen on Johan Wissa. I think Johan Wissa is the one who I would pick amongst all these people. Simply because, okay, first of all, underlying data is amazing. Johan Wissa, his per 90s, his XG is like double everybody else we're talking about here. It's
Yeah,
closer to
I
like
think
almost 1 XG
1.44 xg. Last
in the
weekend.
most recent game. Yeah.
And if you just take the home games, I mean, he was not fit for some of it, but he has started 3 home games, right? So the most recent one against Ipswich, 1.44 xg. Previous home game against Southampton, 1.09 xg. Previous home game against Crystal Palace, 1 xg. So it's insane.
Yeah. So
I think just Brentford at home have been really good. Even I think if you even look at Mbeumo's stats, right, he has not blanked at home and he has hauled like almost every single home game. So
yeah,
I like
that's
Wissa.
amazing.
I really do.
Yeah.
And because
It's a
it's
sweet price point
fresh,
as well.
yeah, sweet price point, freshly back from injury, so maybe not so popular yet. I really do like it. And I think Brentford can score against anyone. They might not win because they've been very leaky at the back. I think Flecken's like the only keeper who has started every single game who hasn't kept a clean sheet. Sorry, Flecken owners. But
I think there
Brentford
are
attacking
three
is good.
teams. Three teams with no clean sheets. I think it's Wolves, Brentford, and Saints.
But
So
they have
obviously I have a
switched up
Brentford defender
keepers.
and a
Yeah.
yes, they have switched their keepers to each other. Yes. But Flecken gets saves points. I mean, so I mean I can't rag on Flecken owners. I've got David Raya who has
Done
managed
nothing.
to not keep a
Since we
clean sheet
transferred him
in.
in. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I like Johan Wissa out of that batch. I think if you can afford transfers in the short term, Johan Wissa is really good. The next 5 fixtures amazing. If you want to set and forget, Cunha's clear. Jimenez, I see that Jimenez is not the
Just
popular pick
because
this
he
week.
blanked. Just
Yeah,
because
just
he
because he
blanked
blanked.
last week, But before that was 5 weeks in a row returns and good underlying numbers and good fixtures coming up. At least in the short term, Brentford, Palace, Wolves, Spurs,
Okay, so
Brighton. So I
enough
think
enough being
Jimenez,
diplomatic, Sam.
Jimenez is more of a shorter term transfer, I think.
So rank them. I mean, you gotta, because this is the
But
kind of a key
before we
move
go
this
there, I really want to put forward Nico Jackson, who is a lot more expensive than the rest, admittedly, but still has been really good this season. Yeah. I think I have Palmer already, so maybe not so keen on doubling up, despite the myth, despite doubling up being a fallacy. But if you can't afford Palmer, and you still want a Chelsea attacker, Jackson has been really good this season.
I just don't like that he comes off like almost every game. Like he rarely plays 90. He doesn't have hands, but he rarely plays 90. But that's the big thing for me, which you could say, to be fair, about Jimenez and to an extent even Johan Wissa. So that's kind of why Cunha has that sort of safety that none of these guys have, except someone. So we mentioned Havertz, right? But Havertz just feels too expensive at this point when you compare him to all these other guys.
And I have
And
Watkins as well, who, he's doing decently as 51 points. He's the 5th highest scoring forward. But no one's talking about him because his price is just so high at 9. And like you said, because of the emergence of budget forwards, like, it just feels like you don't need to spend so much to get points.
so would it be fair to say Cunha above all these guys?
Are we including Chris Wood? Because Chris Wood, undisputed number 1.
It's hard, right? I said this last week. If you don't already have Chris Wood, I'd be surprised if you're getting him in now. And I think that's still the case because the fixtures are going to tighten up. So it's
That's
hard.
true.
We both already have him, and we really can't. Giving an unbiased answer here, I can't imagine anyone's getting Chris Wood in this week. I think it's more just a case of you pray that he doesn't keep scoring. Although
Yeah.
West Ham, Newcastle, and Ipswich in the next 4, I mean,
It's deceiving because if you look at the FPL's own FDR chart, you don't see a lot of greens, you know.
you know,
You don't. There are a lot of greys. But Newcastle at home, they can easily score that, you know. So, but you're right. I think just fixture-wise, the other players look better. If I were to rank all of them, any striker not named Haaland, my first choice would be Cunha. And then Jimenez. And then Wood, I guess. And you just know Welbeck's going to outscore all of them in the next 2 weeks. Despite the fixtures. Oh, wait, I forgot Wissa. Sorry. Cunha, Wissa, Jimenez. I think that would be my order. Although, like I did say earlier, Jimenez, good fixture run is going to run out in like 3 or 4 games. So a really short-term transfer.
yeah. I think I would say Nico Jackson's probably maybe second in that list. It's just that, but you got to park budget aside. So depends what your sacrifices you're making. Shall we talk about defense? Because on the other hand, right, you have we had 2 questions here, and I guess they're pretty interesting because I sold Trent this week, and reluctantly, very reluctantly, but I needed to get to Palmer. Yeah, I'm not happy about it. But I needed to get to Palmer, and it was between sacrificing Haaland or sacrificing Trent. I appreciate that most people are going to do the Haaland one out, but because I already have Salah, I don't need that much cash. I just needed a bit, so Trent made sense to me. But we have a question here from FPL Blitzkrieg.
Before we go, who do you bring in for Trent?
8 Nuri. So
okay, fair.
I'm still pretty boring, even when I'm risky, I'm still pretty boring. Although I will say I looked at Nuri's underlying data after making the transfer, and Wolves really don't want to keep a clean sheet. I mean, they've conceded more than 1 XG in every single game. So
yeah, but no one is keeping clean sheets anyway. So
that's what I'm telling myself. To be fair, I mean, even Liverpool haven't kept one for a while. So the question here from FPL Blitzkrieg, for a whole 2 game weeks, which is an eternity. And a few weeks ago, I was telling you got to get double Liverpool defense. So we had a question here: do you get Trent or Konate or both? And to me today, if you ask me, double Liverpool defense, heck no, man. I think I'd get Konate and just leave it at that.
Do you know why it feels so long? It's because the international break. So their last clean sheet was like 1 month ago or something, which is why it feels like it's so long. Yeah. Double Liverpool. I wouldn't double any defense right now because all of them are kind of bad. If I had to pick one Liverpool player, I think I'll go Konate because I do feel the 2 mil Trent is not really making that 2 mil worth it, 2 mil extra.
It's weird because Trent's underlying data is still really good. I feel like I watched the Arsenal game. This guy's really involved. Set pieces, crosses. It's his pass that leads to the equalizer. I can't brain why he only has 1 assist. But 9 games in, it feels like I just have to take that as a sign. Whatever reason, there are just games, especially when he's up against it, where he just can't get us forward as much as you want him to.
Yeah. Yep. That said, I am keeping Trent though, because I feel Trent to Konate is maybe too much of a sideway move at this moment, unless I'm really strapped for cash, and that's the only place I could sacrifice in my team. But if not, I think if you have Trent, you're just keeping good fixtures coming up. high chance of clean
Is
sheet. And like
he?
I said, he's still really involved, and his underlying stats is still like better than any other defender in the league right now.
Yeah, never a must sell. It's more just, do you need the funds? And as a non Haaland owner, which all of you are going to become apparently this week, yeah, you have endless funds.
Yep. Welcome to my life, Siva.
Hmm.
Not
So,
you, but
never mind.
everyone else who's selling Haaland. Welcome to the balling life, where you got so much money, but too many options.
Oh, I really need Haaland Hall this week, especially with everyone selling. But
Yeah. Okay.
we'll see.
Defense.
Let's back to defense, because we had a question here from FPL Hafiz, good friend of the pod. Gabriel replacements. So the latest update on Gabriel as we record is that, I mean, it's Arteta. So whatever I say here is meaningless, right? Apparently he looks like he's doing okay, has a chance of being fit for the weekend. But Arteta said that Saka was not even on the grass and then magically scored within 5 minutes. So
Yeah. And then he came out in a press conference saying like, he's doing it intentionally, basically, right? Like he doesn't want the FPL managers. No, he didn't mention FPL managers lah. What did he use? I forgot what's the word he used, like opponents or
he doesn't want
enemies.
other teams to know. Yeah.
Yeah, but basically FPL managers. He doesn't want his FPL rivals to know in his mini league. I'm pretty sure that's the actual root cause.
Quite possibly. I mean, this man is bolder than Pep at this point. So it's funny, right? And this sort of sidebarring, right? Because talking about injuries and press conferences, and a few days ago, like last week, said that Son wasn't in training, and we'll see how it goes for the weekend. And I think because we're all so conditioned to having been lied to, we've all got PTSD from Arteta and Guardiola. When
No one
Ange
trusts
said
him.
we'll see, everyone thought, "Ah, he's lying. Son's definitely fit. Don't worry, he'll be there." And then Son doesn't show up, and everyone's like, "Oh yeah, Ange did say we'll see."
And he's really honest, I think. Like he's proper honest. Most of
Full
his
head
press
of
conferences.
hair on that man.
Yeah. Yep.
Much respect to Ange. Yeah, so yeah, we've got some level of PTSD we need to get over. So Gabriel replacement, Sam. I mean, again, do you even fight the sort of the most obvious move? If you don't have Ait Nuri, you get Ait Nuri.
Yeah, I guess. I literally am struggling to find a defender to recommend.
They all suck.
They all suck. And Guardiola, who at least have been returning the past few weeks, is maybe injured. It's a bit
Maybe.
unclear right now, right? As of recording. If he is injured, then you can't bring him in. And then who else do you get? I guess maybe Gabriel Konate. That will be the only one I could do. But
Fair.
everyone else kind of bad. So it's more fine. Since there is no one else, let me just get a cheap, decent defender. Nuri, maybe one of the Forest defenders. And then, pump the money elsewhere, right? There's no real like for like replacement, I think.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, you and I will never be interested in Poro, and I don't think anything has changed. So, yeah. Yeah, Van de Ven as well. Yeah, so we talked about Van de Ven being injured. For Palace, there's possible Eze and Wharton injuries yesterday from the Carabao Cup. So yeah, Ait Nouri against a Palace with no Eze, no Wharton. I mean, you take your chances, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Palace play 5 back, so Daniel Munoz gets up really high. Maybe there's some gaps left. I mean, Ait Nouri scored from a corner, so how relevant all of this is debatable.
Yeah. And it's similar to the other side, For Munoz, I know he gets really high up, so maybe there's some space at the back. Right? They're both it's gonna be like a 4-4 game or something like that.
Yeah, pick your narratives and don't expect clean sheets. Just be happy if you get them. I mean, even Rico Lewis, right? Who amazingly now probably one of the most nailed players in the Man City team, and Pep plays him 90 minutes in the Carabao Cup. Don't know why, and comes on and says he's really tired. He's really tired. He needs a rest. Thank you, Sherlock.
Yeah.
Why not you rest him then?
Yeah, I think at this stage, just be happy if your defender plays, and that's it. Like the whole purpose of defenders right now is just to facilitate moves for forwards and midfielders.
Yeah, and don't get too. I mean, don't waste time looking too much at data. I mean, Villa have the second least expected goals conceded. They haven't kept a clean sheet in all but I think 2 games.
As a Consa owner, I'm very well aware.
Yeah,
because
Konsa was what?
the game they kept a clean sheet was the game Konsa got subbed off. I
Yes, I remember.
missed their only clean sheet in the entire season.
Yeah, the 0-0 against United. Yeah, and even this week, right? Villa, what, seconds away from keeping a clean. They bossed the game against Bournemouth, and then last attack of the game. Uh, so don't get too attached to clean sheets.
Yeah. So basically, all defenders bad. That's our recommendation. Just get the cheapest one that you feel kind of okay with, and then push the money into your mids or forwards.
Yeah, and I know he's nice because the fixtures are good for such a long period of time. You're not likely to sell him, even if he doesn't keep clean sheets. You're just gonna let it ride and see what happens. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, Forest defender I don't mind at all. Murillo, nice, cheap. Milenkovic, Ola Aina.
Yeah. Just one of them. I don't think there's much difference. None of them are really giving attacking returns either. None of them particularly good for bonus either. So I think just get one of them.
Yeah, I like the idea of Ola Aina because Ola Aina can play on both flanks. Theoretically, might be closer to a bonus, but I wouldn't get too attached to it. And the fixtures long term aren't great. Guess I think that's pretty much everything. Let's talk captaincy, Sam. Captaincy this week is a bit more interesting. We finally have some questions. I mean, we have some decisions to make here.
Is it? It's quite straightforward for me. It will be Mo Salah at home against Brighton.
Okay, but help me
I
out.
don't know if this kind of stats matter to you, but I think he scored, like the team he scored, I don't know, how do I phrase it? He scored the second most goals against any team, against Brighton. Did I phrase that correctly?
That yes, I mean for someone whose first language is English, I mean you did okay.
Yeah. Basically, Mo Salah scores a lot of goals against Brighton. Let me put it that way. I think that makes more sense.
There was a chart about most FPL points he's had against teams, and Brighton's in the top 5. So it's relevant that he was scoring goals against Lewis Dunk and Chris Hughton's Brighton 7 years ago, and Lewis Dunk not available this week, so might actually be good for Brighton defense, though. I think.
Yeah, come on, Dunk's a good defender. England international.
That's okay, but I think he's struggling with this Hustler's sort of high line thing. I don't think it's working out for him or for Webster or any of these guys who were there before. Yeah, I mean Salah's a good pick,
but yeah, previous record aside, Salah still remains a good pick, just on form and good home fixture, right? And Brighton's defensive form as well.
Yeah, but help me out, Sam, because I got both, and I generally don't have a clue.
I feel this season, which again could be some kind of gambler's fallacy, but home games seems to be really, really valuable this season. More so than I remember in any of the seasons I played FPL, right? Like pretty much the entire season, you can bank on any good player having a nice home fixture. You could have done it for Mbeumo, could have done it for Salah, could have done it for Palmer, right? Like every home game, they are returning well. So I would back the home game. But that's it, Siva. If you got Haaland, you're spending 15 mil on him. That's the reason why you're spending 15 mil on Haaland, so that you can just captain him every week.
These prices are imaginary. I don't care about the prices. I don't look at the prices. People, you tell me that the prices are 50 million. Okay, that's in your head. It's not in my head. These are just names.
Is it though? Because Haaland's value per million is low. The only reason why people get Haaland is because if you factor in captaincy, then it makes sense with the price and the fact that they feel. I mean, if he hauled last week against Southampton, will you even be having this debate?
Yeah, but he didn't. So that's the point, right? He didn't haul.
He was
This is a
really
team.
close. We accepted that it was luck and variance and some other statistical terms.
For me, I don't like looking at captaincy as a value figure, because if that was the case, you would have never captained Palmer last season when he was 5 mil, right? And we all know that doesn't make sense. So you captain the guy who has the best fixture, and people can have good fixtures but not the best fixture and still be in your team. That doesn't mean you got to sell them. That doesn't mean you got to get rid of them. I think Haaland's got two very good fixtures coming up. And for all the reasons we're saying, Brighton, good fixture, no dunk. They can't really defend. They play a very high line. Haaland plays Brighton in 2 weeks. So I have no rush to sell. I still think Bournemouth gave more, 1.5 XG up against Villa. And I don't really rate Villa that much compared to City. So I think, again, good fixture for Haaland. He's had a full rest, but I don't need to captain him because all you losers are going to captain Salah. So that's my hedge. I captain the same guy everyone else captains. And if Haaland gets a hat trick, I still get to laugh.
Okay, fair. That's true. Man, I hate that everyone's gonna be captaining Salah. I wish there was some kind of alternative in my team, but I just can't look past Salah.
It's got to be pretty annoying for you that you are now basically like you didn't want to be mainstream. You told me I'm never going to own Haaland. I'm going to do it my way. And now, unfortunately, you have become the template.
But yeah.
Frustrating.
Salah is, I think, by far best fixture on form, best captain. C option.
For the people who have Haaland, no Salah, do they just
Who got
captain
Luis
Haaland or
Diaz?
is there?
Yep. You know, those people who thought Luis Diaz could cover Salah's points.
Okay, let's not be too harsh on them. You know, to be fair, Diaz did score yesterday. Could
So they got
theoretically start. So did Gakpo, yeah. Slot's gonna have some decision to make. If you're not capping Haaland, you're capping Salah. Is there any viable third way? Like, is Palmer still on the table, or now that because I feel like if Ten Hag was still in place, Palmer would be a cheeky cap. But now that he's out, everyone's kind of too scared.
And away, I think. I don't know. It just doesn't feel good.
Old Trafford,
I look for nice home
fortress.
fixtures, and unfortunately, none of them. You know, even Arsenal is playing away. So those of you who have Saka away against Newcastle probably will not captain. So yeah, the only good team. I mean, Spurs maybe if you have Son, but then against Villa, who although they have considered a goal every single game, do have very very low XGC, expected goals considered. So it's tough. It's a really tough week. Brentford, Fulham away. So again, don't really feel that comfortable captaining Mbeumo or Wissa.
Yeah, Spurs is interesting, right?
Spurs, yes, Spurs.
Yeah, we should just chat about Spurs a bit because I think if we're recording on Thursday, and I think if we recorded on Tuesday as we normally do, the conversation about Spurs would be so different because they were awful against Palace. A really embarrassing performance. Didn't create anything against one of the worst teams in the league, and then they followed that up with a win against City, and City didn't put out that weak a lineup. Sure, no Haaland, but by and large, it's a pretty strong team.
Yeah, Foden, Savinho, all playing.
Foden,
It was a strong team.
Savinho,
It was a proper strong team.
Yeah. I mean, so maybe inconsistency, and maybe it's too soon to write them off. They're going to continue to be inconsistent. I think Ange is struggling with figuring out, and I'm sure you're going to be worried, Sam, because as a Madison owner, it's clear that he doesn't know how to play Madison and Kulu together.
I agree, 100%. I'm very concerned as a Madison owner. I think it wasn't that great of a move right now. But then again, Johnson as well, who would have been the alternative. Because I don't know why, but all of us were just so convinced that Spurs would not be Spursy. And, they ended up very Spursy.
Yes.
But I'm gonna I'm gonna hold Madison for another 2 weeks because 2 home fixtures, right? Villa and then Ipswich before they play City, and I think that's a good exit point. So I think with any Spurs players, maybe you just hold for another 2 weeks, have an exit point before they play City. And I'm trying to rearrange the funds in this next 2 weeks so that I can move Madison up to Saka just in time after Arsenal's 2 away games when they play Forest at home and they have a nice fixture run coming up. So that is my plan. I think the fixtures just, it flips very nicely. And you stay within North London, so.
Yes. Same celebration and all that. Yeah. Makes sense. Okay. I like it. Pretty concise episode. No graphics. I must confess. Slight. It's deep Diwali here.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
so Siva has very graciously taken time off his Diwali celebrations to record this pod for you
yeah,
guys. And also, happy Diwali to anyone who is listening who celebrates.
yeah. May your FPL team light it up this week. Or be a steaming pile of fire. It depends. I mean, very
Basically
debatable.
the same thing. Yeah.
Basically the same thing. We'll see you for Game Week 11 though. But in the meantime, Sam.
Get your green arrows, guys, and see you next week.